In Part 1, we explored regions of West Africa, England, Ireland, and Germany, where so many early settlers came from during the early days of what we now know to be the United States. Now we're going to explore how these people lived during the early days on the frontier here in Virginia. This rather rustic-looking structure is representative of the early settlements in Virginia. In the mid-1700s, more and more Europeans were arriving in the colonies. They came from all over Europe, but they were primarily German and Scots-Irish. And while their backgrounds varied, they shared a common dream: to own land. And that is what lured these new immigrants out into the back country where they settled. They traveled west on rutted dirt paths, out into what could only be described as wilderness. Arriving with the clothes on their backs and whatever a horse or wagon could carry, they built one-room cabins using materials the land supplied. Their new lives required determination, hardship, and resourcefulness. While their cultural backgrounds were quite different, this shared experience of moving to the American backcountry gave them a common cultural bond. In this area of Virginia, eastern woodland Indians lived in huts similar to these. As a settler, life on the frontier involved interacting with these indigenous people. Many times, settlers and Indians traded goods with each other. Settlers received pelts, food, and even adopted farming and hunting ideas from the Indians. The Indians, well, they received iron tools and implements, metal knives, and even metal cooking pots. But some settlers feared the Indians. And make no mistake, the native people were greatly impacted by the ever-increasing population of settlers on what was their ancestral lands. Their reactions range from curiosity and benevolence to apprehension and outright hostility. We're moving into the 1820s. People had been settling in what was once considered the backcountry for nearly 100 years. By the 1820s, established families were no longer living in one-room rustic log cabins. This home dates from 1773 and was built by a German immigrant in Rockingham County, Virginia. The refinements of civilization were becoming more commonplace. It would not be unusual to find an English-made chest of drawers in a home. You might even find a family enjoying a meal on imported dinner plates. If their original homestead existed at all, it likely had been added to several times and was now at the core of a larger home.
But tape is very old. What you would make on an inkle loom, like the one I showed you, is technically tape, but a lot of them were used for belts. Tape would be the overarching thing for any flat band, usually a colorful one. This is an apron string. They're used to tie aprons up or together.
This particular house has been added to 3 times since the original one-room home was built. As you can see, the home is a far cry from the early rustic cabin. Schoolhouses were popping up here and there during this time, which shows the importance families placed on children getting at least a basic education. We are now in the 1850s, in the very middle of the 19th century. This house would be considered modest and built using the latest construction methods of the time. This looks to be a dairy, a cool place to keep milk, cream, and cheese in the days before refrigeration. Farms like this likely did not own slaves, but did sometimes rent slaves from those who did. The home even has a cellar. Most farms were able to produce enough to keep themselves fed and have enough surplus to make the farm profitable. The Shenandoah Valley was now connected to national markets by way of roads, water, and railroads. As agricultural products moved out, manufactured products moved in. By this time, 3 or 4 generations had been born to the original settlers, and over the decades, old world culture and traditions were giving way in favor of a more familiar American way of life, a way of life born by ancestors, which continued to evolve and shape the values and traditions of the communities across America. That is a McCormick reaper machine. This reaper revolutionized the harvesting of wheat. Pulled behind a draft horse, it cut wheat and deposited it in batches behind the machine as it moved through the field. No longer did people need to harvest wheat by swinging a scythe. This one is believed to be one of the replicas built in 1931 by the International Harvester Company on its 100th anniversary. To the left is a winnowing machine. After thrashing, the wheat stems were run through this machine to separate the wheat grains from the chaff using air. This is a house of worship built by African Americans. It came here from the Mount Tabor United Methodist Congregation in New Hope, Virginia. The congregation's oral history has it as being built by slaves sometime before the 1850s. It may have also served as a school for black families in the post-Civil War era. Religion played an important role in the lives of black communities, both before and after slavery was abolished. This is going to wrap up today's visit and explore the Frontier Cultural Center here in Staunton. I absolutely enjoyed looking through these early American buildings and seeing how our ancestors lived and worked in the early days of the country. Definitely worth the visit. And when the construction project is complete, it's going to be even better. Until the next time, remember, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride, and thanks for watching.